Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on verse 45 of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. So we did 44 last time, which said, by the very former practice he is born on in spite of himself. Even he who merely wishes to know yoga goes beyond the Shabda Brahman. So basically Krishna Bhagavan was saying that if you have practiced in your previous lives, any kind of sadhana you have done, you will immediately connect to that and you will start doing it. And no matter what the circumstances, what the environment, it is something internal. It will just bubble out and you will start doing it. It's just like any other tendencies. Because sometimes people may make this excuse, my environment is not right. And also he's saying all that doesn't matter because whatever you have done and whatever your strong desire is, that's what matters. And then he also said that he wanted to encourage Arjun to continue on this path. So he said, even if somebody who wishes to know this yoga goes beyond, just the finite fruits, or, going to Swargalok or something, this smaller gains, he will just give up and he will go to straight for, moksha. He will strive for it. That's what he meant in the last verse. So instead of taking it totally literally, we have to remember it was a conversation between Arjun and Krishna Bhagavan. He's trying to encourage him. But there is some truth to it. If you really want something, you will continue the effort and finally you will reach. That's what it means. So going along the same lines, trying to, say more what happens. That's where we are now at 45. So here is a verse. Prayatnat yatamanastu yogi sanshutta kilbishaha aneka janma samsiddhaha tato yati param gatim. Prayatnat, with assiduity. Now this was a big word, so I had to look up. So it means that, devoted effort. That's what it means. Putting on really very devoted effort. Yatamanaha, striving. तो उसको yati भी बोलते हैं. The person who strives, उसको person who's making effort towards certain things. Tu is but yogi, the yogi. Here you're talking about the meditator. Samshuddha kilbishaha, purified from sins. जैसे उसके सारे पाप नष्ट हो जाते हैं, like that we say in Hindi. अनेक जन्म samsiddhaha, perfected through many births. Everybody knows the word anek janma, and samsiddha means, perfected. Tata is then, yati is reaches, yatihi. Param, the highest. Gatim is path. और गति को गोल भी बोलते हैं, पैथ दोनों को गति बोलते हैं संस्कृत में. So what is he saying over here? So basically, there are different swamis take a slightly different approach. All of them are very valid because every time there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, it has a lot of deeper meaning. So we have to look at it from every angle. And so there were two different angles brought in by two different swamis, and I'll discuss that. So, one second. Wrong book. Yeah, 1 second. Okay. So here, from the previous verse, you can look at it like a continuation. So this yogi, there were two different paths, right? In a sense that there were two different problems in doing the sadhana. One was, hey, you have less of vairagya, but you are practicing a lot. And one is you have a lot of vairagya and then you kind of failed in a little bit of practice. So out of them, obviously, Vairagya is a lot more potent. If somebody can get Vairagya, their progress will be very fast. So remember that. And then we had saw that the person who has a deep Vairagya, he's immediately born in that yogi's family, and then he, very quickly reaches that. But the other guy who is kind of practicing, उसके बारे में थोड़ा ज़्यादा बताया गया है, because fast track वालों का तो हमको मालूम है क्या होता है. So ये जो योगी है वो the one who went to the Swarglok and enjoyed a lot and all that, and he was born in a rich and a pure family, and then continues abhyas. So उसके लिए ये वाला ज़्यादा अप्लाई करता है. So वो क्या करेगा कि उसके हो सकता है उसके कई जन्म लगे, मगर he will continue प्रयत्ननात् yatamanah. So he will be trying to control his mind and purifying it and putting forth the right kind of effort. That's the main thing, because if you do wrong kind of effort, then you don't reach, like in India, one of the Swami was explaining that people get sidetracked a lot. They will start going after certain siddhis and things like that, So then that's not putting on the right effort. So make sure that putting the right effort. So then what will happen is obviously this is the same things that we have learned before, but it's like a revision only. That his mind will become, in the end, it will become absolutely pure, free from all impurities. This samshuddha kilbisha, that's what it means. Or and so obviously वो practice करता है तो उसको थोड़े सा और life लगेगा. It is not going to be, because it's a slower path. So it's better to develop Vairagya that way. So just keep that in mind. But remember, Krishna Bhagavan said that no effort is wasted. So that's why if he continues, then in many lifetimes he will be walking this path. And I just wanted to tell you that when we do Swamiji's commentary, he's going to stress so much on, hey, you don't need to waste time, you should get it in this life. Because he had that attitude. Hey, every life is like an opportunity, and don't even think. हमारी teacher भी हमको ऐसी बोलती थी, why you want to take another birth? Just finish it up now. So she wanted us to put that effort right now. It's just encouraging, just like Krishna Bhagavan is encouraging Arjuna. So what happens with this path? That finally the mind will start becoming more and more pure. And so, like I said, that abhyas also will lead to purity. But you have to require more effort. And Vairagya, it can be faster. So we have to make a choice. And it's going to be, purification also will be faster with Vairagya. We know that when we are have Vairagya and not super attached to things, then our mind doesn't, wool gathering nahi karta hai mind. And we'll have more time to put it toward our sadhana. So what are the abhyas he's talking about? This one, the Nikhilanandji likes to revise things so that we don't forget. So abhyas is the same, like different kind of, puja ho sakti hai, sadhana, japa, tapa, pranayam. All those things will lead, whatever is conducive to you, you keep doing that. And here the thing that he say, anek jan samsiddha, that's what it means. We already discussed that it will take many different lives. And then last part of the verse is yati param gatim. So that means ultimate state of realization of enlightenment. That's what he's talking about. So just making a revision from what we learned, what that state is, so we get established in that self. So right now for us, we know it, but we are not established. There's a difference when somebody gets established versus, I know it's there, but I'm not yet established. And what happens in that final stage is that he comes to experience the Turiya Avastha that we talked about in Mandukya. And it's also called the Nirvikalp Samadhi. And if you take another language to explain that, what does it mean? He will come to know himself by himself. It's like the wave and the ocean. The wave comes to know, hey, I am the ocean. I am the same essence. That's what it means. So that means all duality will be negated at that point. And so the knowledge of the self will become very clear. And you will see that the same concept is coming in Kathopanishad. That is going to talk about that why the human birth is so valuable, because if you can purify your mind with all these sadhanas, then the knowledge of the self is the clearest. There are only two places in the universe. One is here and one is Brahmaloka, and when we see. And Brahmaloka, to reach over there is very difficult. So, all the Swamis and all say, this is your chance. And that's why I think one time it was Anilji who said that Swarg Vasi bhi yahan par aana chahte hain on the earth because of that, because Swarg mein bahut bhog vagara vilas zyada hai. So like, when you go on the vacation, हम लोग की भी साधना खत्म हो जाती है, right? When we go on vacation, we don't. अभी मीरा जी जाके आई है, उनको पूछो कितनी बार पढ़ा उन्होंने गीता वहाँ पे. See, she's saying no. That's how the स्वर्ग लोक is. वहाँ पर नहीं होता है सब. So that's what it is. That now you know that why this dhartis or the world is so important for us. So and then the other way of putting it is that even when we are aware of this world, he knows, this person will know it's an appearance. Means it's mithya. It's not real. That's what it is. Because for us, it's still very difficult. We still find so much reality in this world and we get so disturbed. And that person is not going to get disturbed. And then he will also know it very clearly that what is real is his own self. And then also he will know that the self, it's alone is appearing as this world. All the things that we learn, he will get it. So when he gets like this, that's when he becomes free of all bondages. Remember that one of the problem is that we still feel bound and we have all this negativity in our mind, and all that will go away. And that's what is called the supreme state of realization. So just to summarize, there are two different kind of paths. He talked about Abhyas and Vairagya. And what the Dilli Wale Swami said, Nikhilanandji said, if you pursue them together, that is the best. So then, fastest. So that's what we have to remember. It's not like one is better than the other, but we have to understand they are both synergistic. So if you should pursue them both together. And then the next verse is going to be like, Arjuna is like maybe thinking, कितनी सारी बातें बोल दी भगवान ने, कर्म योगा के बारे में बोला, भक्ति के बारे में भी बताया in second chapter. Now he's talking about meditation, and then there are different kind of yogis who strive different things. So Nikhilanand ji was saying, end में ना लोग थोड़ा confused होकर पूछते हैं, अच्छा तो मेरे लिए क्या आदेश है? मतलब what should I be doing? Give me the bottom line. Okay, Krishna Bhagavan is going to give him the bottom line in the next one. In his opinion, who is the best yogi? So he's going to tell him who is the best yogi in the next one. And that's how he concludes the chapter. Okay, so that's where we are going to go from here. But this is the verse. Any question, comment? Anybody wants to add anything?
Umaji, so do two things together. One is abhyas and the other one is
dispassion. बोलेंगे English में. Vairagya comes with knowledge. Like, hey, this world is not real, and the self is real. Then you get vairagya from it. It's not like you won't enjoy the world. You will still, but it's a passing thing.
तो उसी का अभ्यास करना है ना.
True. But what
you said, Dilli Wale Swami ji says, do both things together.
Okay, I think you missed few classes, so this is what happened. Yeah, no, that's okay. It's maybe it will be beneficial for everybody and me also, just to revise it. So when we are doing these things, there could be two situations where we lack. One is abhyas means क्या है कि even if I know that vairagya is very important, I have to put it in practice, that vairagya. just a bookish knowledge is not going to do anything for me.
Yeah.
Am I behaving like a Vairagi? And Krishna Bhagavan gave a definition of a sannyasi, the one who does not have likes and dislikes. Because you look at ourselves, we have very strong likes and dislikes in this. मुझे ये अच्छा लगता है, मुझे वो नहीं अच्छा लगता है. सारे time the things we want, and the things we don't want, we want to get away from us. So this guy is above it because he looks at it as, whatever comes in my prarabdha, just accept it and move on. Many different things come under that. So practice is suppose if I don't have vairagya, right? How do I get that vairagya? It's not that easy. Just because मैंने पढ़ लिया तो मुझे वैराग्य आ गया, ऐसे नहीं होता है. पहले प्योरीफाई करना पड़ता है माइंड को, उसमें प्रैक्टिस आती है. तो सपोज इफ somebody doesn't know anything about Geeta, nothing, and then he goes to some guru and all guru saying, sit down and do the japa. So that becomes a practice. So now he's doing japa, and with that his mind gets a little quieter. Then he becomes a jigyasu. Hey, who am I? Then he starts studying. उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में उन्होंने अभ्यास बोला था. Or you start doing yoga. Suppose you start doing physical yoga, and if you have a good teacher, the teacher will lead you to the your mind. They say, hey, this asanas that you're doing, actually it is to control the mind, and that's how you will enter that arena. So that's what abhyas part is. So there are some people who do a lot of abhyas, but somehow they have still not developed the vairagya, but unka bhi effort waste nahi jata. That's what the whole idea was in this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other? Okay. So, Meera ji, since you are back, would you like to read?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Sure. 45. But the yogi who strives with assiduity, purified from sins and perfected gradually through many births, then attains the highest good. As already noticed till now, the mind and intellect equipment of an individual functions through his body in the world outside, as per the traits chalked out upon it by the past actions performed in its earlier lives. These channels of thinking cut across the fields of the mind determine the direction of its thoughts and the texture of its actions in the present. These lacerations on the subtle body are called in Vedanta as sins, or as the dirt of the within. These impurities are removed and the existing ulcers healed through selfless action.
So here Swamiji over here is kind of revising in his own language, whatever we have studied in the past. So when we are born, we have certain traits that we have, or certain tendencies. We like certain things, we don't like certain things, we gravitate towards certain things, and we don't want, and all that. Where it's coming from? So even the modern psychologists will, or whatever researchers of the mind will say now that they know that mind is like a fluid thing, but it has usko na aise, if you physical ढंग से सोचा जाए तो as though there are channels in it, of certain tendencies. So these channels actually, whether they are good or bad tendency, in the end, in the Vedanta, they are still called impurities. Completely pure mind is when you have no vasanas, no desires, and it sounds very strange for us, because we think that, hey, if I'm not going to have a desire, why would I do anything, right? So we get a little confused. But the way we have to look at it at our stage, the spiritual desires are good for us, because eventually that spiritual desires will lead us to no desire. That's why. But if you go the other ones, then you're going to go back deeper and deeper. Just dal mein phaste jayenge hum log, or too many lives and just doing the same thing over and over again and things like that. So basically, Swamiji is telling us that, वेदांत में पाप किसको कहते हैं. एक और डेफिनेशन बताया था हमारी टीचर ने, बहुत अच्छा डेफिनेशन विच स्वामी जी ने सिखाया सभी को, कि when whatever you do, some action, if it takes you away from God, then that's a sin. And if it takes you towards God, then it's a merit, or it's punya. So that is, so it's not a very kind of क्या बोलना चाहिए फिक्स्ड डेफिनेशन कि ऐसा करेंगे तो पाप है, वैसा करेंगे तो पुण्य है. ईच इंडिविजुअल पे डिपेंड करेगा, उसकी ड्यूटी क्या है, उसका स्टेशन ऑफ लाइफ क्या है, उसके लिए क्या धर्म है, एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. Oh, Meena ji, you're appearing at two different places.
Well, it wasn't coming out correct.
Okay, now, okay, fine, you're gone. Okay, I'm like, suddenly you got cloned. So okay, so that's what he's talking about. So this is a little technical thing, but I tried to explain the best way I could.
But even then, while reclaiming the wrong negative tendencies of the mind, the individual will have to plow the fields of his mind with new patterns representing the constructive divine tendencies. These meritorious vasana, punya, can also provide a severe obstruction for a man of meditation. After having purified his mind of its unethical and sensuous tendencies, the aspirant should practice meditation. During the still moments of the peaceful peace in the depths of his depths, when he exposes his mind to the thrilled atmosphere of its vibrant silence, the noble traits also get completely wiped off. A mind which is thus rendered completely impressionless, vasana-less, is the end of the mind, since mind is nothing but a bundle of vasanas. Where the mind has ended, there the ego has also ended, having then reached the highest goal of gain, self-rediscovery.
So Swamiji summarized the whole process of meditation over here. That's what he has done it. And it's the same thing that in the beginning, we have to make instead of those bad channels of tendency, we have to create good channels of tendency. That's why that abhyas comes. And it's a very simple thing that suppose I cannot get up in the morning, I'm a lazy person. So I have to change my habit. So I'll have to put the alarm at 5 o'clock every morning, and then I have to push myself out of bed, and people do all kind of funny things. And I think it was Sarvapriya Nanji who said, he was talking about his days when he was a student and, over there in Vedanta. And he said that पहले हम लोग अलार्म बड़ी वो कर्कश आवाज़ होती थी उस अलार्म की, तो वो रखते थे पास में रखते थे, right? So then you push that button because you want the alarm to just shut up, and you don't want to get up. So one of his teacher, he told him, put the alarm a little far away. So you will have to get up. I do that too, because it's very easy if the phone is sitting right next to you. But when you get up, then you have a better chance of not going back to bed. So that's creating a new channel, and if I do it long enough, I will be creating. Then automatically my mind, मेरी आँख खुल जाएगी 5 बजे. See what I'm saying? So from the wrong tendency, you create this new. But like I was saying, at the absolute highest peak of this journey, even the good tendencies have to be removed. And that's why we have discussed in our class that you have to give up the desire of moksha also at that point. Otherwise, you won't get it. It's like, I want to get sleep. Even if I have that thought, in the end, I won't get to sleep. I have to drop that thought too, to actually get to sleep. So a similar concept, okay? So that's what he's talking about. And then he also mentioned about mind, and someday we will maybe do a little more detail what mind is. Mind is not like a fixed instrument. Mind को तब बोलते हैं जब thought starts flowing, उसको mind बोलते हैं. Otherwise, इसे mind is folded. जैसे कोई instrument है मेरे kitchen में, mixie. So I turn it off and put it away. So then it's no mixie. But when I take it out and start churning, then it is a mixie. So that's how you have to think. So this mind is, once it's folded, it becomes no mind. But when it has thoughts in it and all these, then it's a mind. So basically saying that when you have a lot of desires and vasana, that's where the mind is constantly going. That's why we have a hard time being silent. When we are silent, we are still thinking. See what I'm saying? So that's the problem. But ये जो महात्माज होते हैं ना, they know how to fold their mind and they can easily slide in that turiya state. So that's what it is. Yeah. And then mind, that all that vasana and minds are connected. What is ego? जब mind चलता रहता है तो वो उसको ego भी बोलते हैं. You know. So when the mind is not there, the ego is not there either. So all this, you saw how there's a connection with everything. Yeah.
The explanation of this theory may not perhaps be in print, occupy more than half a page. But in actually carving it out into our individual life, it may be a program of consistent practice for very many lives. Through many births is a phrase used in the Upanishads by the honest scientists of life, the rishis. They are perfectly right. Evolution, as we all know, is not a drama played out during an afternoon, but it is the slow revelation of the history of progress through endless eons.
So basically, यहाँ पर उन्होंने ये बोला है कि whatever he's talking about, it cannot suddenly happen. एक हैबिट आप चेंज करने की कोशिश करो, आपको मालूम पड़ जाएगा कितना टाइम लगता है. You know, so this is something, you know. He said it very nicely. It's not a drama of one afternoon, even though he put everything in one paragraph, and you know it took him few minutes, just half a minute and a minute to read, but it is so deep and there's so much time invested in it. And we already discussed that even the fact that all of you are coming to the Geeta class and we are studying Geeta together, you have brought this vasana from your previous life. You know, it has come. And that's why it is happening. Suddenly, people don't get interested in spiritual stuff. It's a slow process. So because here in this verse, he said, no, many lives. So he's talking about. But now he's going to give another very important explanation.
Unfortunately, the clumsy Pandit class in our recent times has learned to misuse such phrases, especially after the Puranic era and the Chaitanya age, in our sacred Bible to frighten away the Hindus from the sacred Hindu fold. According to the ill-read priests, the many births are to be counted from the present existence, and their opinion would have been certainly acceptable if we at present are all but members of the vegetable kingdom or mere unicellular non-entities. Even when we had read the scriptures with the intelligence and common sense of an average human being, and even if a Pandit were to accept himself to be but a worm, surely we must accept his theory, of course, as applicable only to him. But we, with our intellect so fully developed, our mind so energetic and vigorous, our understanding so acute and sharp, cannot but feel confident that we have exhausted almost all the number of births that are indicated in the term through many births. Yay, that's great.
I know, everybody should give a pat on the back. It's just like, Krishna Bhagwan was encouraging Arjun that even if somebody has a desire to learn this, yoga is going to reach, right? Same way Swamiji is saying, he's talking about many lives, but तुम्हारी mainly तो सारी खत्म हो चुकी है life. That's why, and he gave all of us, he put in the category of, कितना अच्छी बातें बोली हम लोग को. क्या बोला उन्होंने?
We, with our intellect so fully developed, our
Yes.
mind so energetic and vigorous, our understanding so acute and sharp,
Yeah.
cannot but feel confident that we have exhausted almost all the number of births
Yeah.
that are indicated in the term through many births.
Yes. कितना बड़ा compliment दे दिया हम लोग को तो सब लोग को खुश होना चाहिए. We should be smiling from ear to ear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's just saying कि the fact that you have come to this stage, you have already exhausted most of this. So your goal is very near. That's what he's telling us. Yeah.
To one who has the proper temperament to seek life, the anxiety to realize the perfection, the vigilance to understand the hollowness of the sense life, the daring to follow the narrow footprints of the seers of the world, the appetite for infinite peace and tranquility, the courage to live the moral and the ethical values, the heroism to barter one's all to achieve the highest, such a one is not a mineral man, not a vegetable specimen, not an animal man. He is the noblest creation under the sun, a perfect man, standing right in front of the doors of truth, demanding as a God man his admission into the sanctorum.
Yeah, sanctum sanctorum is a term used also. जब वो मंदिर होता है ना उसके जहाँ पर मूर्ति होती है उसको भी sanctum sanctorum बोलते हैं. But basically यहाँ पर बोला है कि to reach the final goal of, connecting with the self or uniting with the self. So he's just telling you that all the things that he said, we have to develop that. See, we have to see it reverse. He's saying that, hey, you are already all these things, and if we don't have it, then just do all those things. That to seek life, the anxiety to realize a perfection. I really want it. The vigilance to understand the hollowness of the sense life. This is, when you study the Shastra, you realize that this is temporary. So why am I getting attached to it if it's not going to be there? Daring to follow the narrow footprints of the seers of the world. Because when we want to, okay, I admire some Rishi Munis and all that, but then I should be following their footprints. Kali, I admire this person, doesn't do anything. If I don't try to do what he's doing. The appetite for infinite peace and tranquility. Hey, I really want that final thing of happiness. The courage to live the moral and the ethical values. When we get tempted to compromise, we should not compromise, no matter what, So that's what. The bravery to barter lives all to achieve the higher. Hey, I'm ready to give up everything to gain this. That's what he's talking about. So he's saying that Swamiji is, he said that you can get a human body, but there are three kinds of humans. He calls them animal man, man, and God man. So man to bahut zaruri hai hona. Animal is like the people who the khao, pio, maja karo, there's nothing more in life. Breed and just enjoy life. So that's like animal man ko bola aise. Man is when you're conscious, you're a little bit more conscious of it. Hey, I need to do good ethical values and all that, ready to sacrifice certain things for other people and all that. Then it's man. God man is the highest kind who really wants to strive. All these qualities that he gave in this paragraph is God man's quality. And he's striving much, much harder than even the average people. That's what he's talking about.
This is so encouraging. So
Yeah.
encouraging.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me continue reading. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's good that I'm glad you're excited, because your excitement, but we also feel like, okay, we can do it. Yeah.
Right now, in this very life is our last birth. If we have a taste to meditate, an urge to seek, a daring to live the life divine.
So he's saying if those three conditions you fulfill, this will be your last birth. So itna bhi bol diya. Yeah.
There is nothing which may sound original in this interpretation to all diligent students of the Geeta, a sacred textbook that has been roaring time and again in an irrepressible spirit of optimism, this message of hope and cheer, with no threats of hell and brimstone anywhere in it, cannot be considered to have changed its music all of a sudden, to declare that man has hopes of a salvation only after many births and not now and here. Even though this misinterpretation may perhaps be helpful to the saboteurs of our religion, no intelligent student of the Gita can even for a moment be hoodwinked by such false notes.
So he's just cautioning again. If somebody is telling you, in India mein chale jao koi, if you go to Haridwar and things like that, there are so many dhongi type of people sitting over there. Hey, come and do this puja. If you don't do, you will go to hell, or kuch bura ho jayega, ye wo. And when you go there, you don't know. And after about 15 minutes, I learned that, these guys are, half of them are like dhongis over there. So it's yahan baitho, nahi baithna hai mujhe. You know what I'm saying? They can't push you around like this. So that's what it is, that, oh, ye bura ho jayega, wo bura ho jayega. And he's saying that Gita is most optimistic, and it's telling you, within just 700 verses, the path, the goal, how to get there, all the pitfalls, everything. And if you do it, you can get it. That's it. And Arjun got it. In the beginning, he was so dejected, so depressed, and it was one of the Swamis who said, 911 को नहीं बुलाया वो टाइप उन्होंने उसको नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन हो रहा था कृष्ण भगवान ने उसको ये अपना वैदिक ट्रीटमेंट दिया how to lift yourself up so he's saying that in Gita it is telling you how to do it now and here. No rain checks now and here. So he's saying that when you don't misinterpret this many lives. Yes, but we have already gone through. And he's talking about the unicellular से लेके आगे बढ़ते गए जानवर से अभी हमको fact that human birth मिला है, that's many lives are already passed. That's what he's talking about. So now you can give more words of Meeraji. You were saying some thoughts were coming that how encouraging. So maybe you can verbalize those for the benefit of everybody.
Well, basically when I started attending these classes, I used to feel, oh my God, it will take many births for me to get where many people are already quite realized in the classes. I said, if I can get even a little bit close, that will be nice. But then as you keep reading, that's what I meant to say, that it is so encouraging. I mean, whether I can achieve it or not, I don't know yet. But just the thought that this could possibly be, otherwise I used to think, abhi to bahut janam lene padenge, even to get there. Yes, the very thought, it can be your last life. So chalo, last life nahi hogi, so last 2-3 lives to shayad ho jaye.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So as a student, it's so encouraging to continue doing whatever it takes to reach the goal. That is why I was very excited.
Yes, absolutely. I think that all of us, when we go through these verses, those are the feelings we get. We certainly get so encouraged. And, this is exactly what Krishna Bhagwan's, attitude has been to Arjun also. When in the beginning, he didn't tell him the Vedanta and all that until he surrendered to him. If you're going back to chapter 2, when he said, hey, I'm so confused. I can't understand what I'm doing. My mind is become like small thinking. So I'm your student. Now teach me what's the best thing for me to do. Then Krishna Bhagwan started Vedanta. But uske pehle, usko डांटा उन्होंने और यही बोला कि why are you behaving like this, un-Aryan and like whatever you're doing, your world is going to laugh at you literally. You're not going to get any honor in the world. Your family's values you're not following. And even after death, you're not going to, aswargam bola. You are not going to get even the higher lokas. So he was telling him all that, but then basically saying you have the material to do it. And that's exactly what Swamiji is telling us, that all of us have that material to do it, so we should not get dejected at all.
And I have to add here that Umaji, you have been constantly encouraging all along. And you have been saying also pretty much the same thing, that the fact that you are all coming to this class, there's no compulsion. Nobody has to come. It's not like we need these grades to, apply to a better college. Nothing like that. But the fact that people are stopping whatever they are doing every Wednesday from 11 o'clock onwards to just be here, present here. And you're saying that, bringing that to the fore is also very encouraging. That obviously we have done something in our past lives that at least we are trying to, attend this class and try to get a platform to take us a little bit higher.
Yeah, because our teacher used to exactly encourage us. And sometime in our conversation, when we used to talk about many lives, so she will suddenly, hum log ko toke bolegi, why are you talking about many lives? No, we are going to get it. She would put herself in there and us also. So we are going to get it in this life. It's like, a person who's climbing the mountain, he has to believe he can do it. It's possible that he made a goal that I want to do it in 12 hours and he was not able to because storm came and this came. But every stage he has to feel like, no, I'm going to do it. That's what it is. And like you said, suppose even if it is not, but I have to at least have the courage to continue. And this is what gives us the courage to continue.
During discussion, I would like to hear more opinions from people like Sushil ji, Meena ji, Anil ji, Asha ji, people, and other people who have been attending for a long time. I just want to hear what their thoughts are about this.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, during discussion.
Yeah, we can do that for sure. Yeah.
It is very inspiring. I mean, I felt like Lord is giving a prashad here. When he's telling you you're there, to me that was a beautiful feeling when I read it.
Yeah.
I said, no, Gurudev ji, he's here. He's telling us, you are there almost.
Almost, yeah. You're at the door. He's telling us you're at the door. Yeah.
It was beautiful, beautiful feeling when I read this. Very encouraging. So, yeah.
Any other comment or question or anything or anybody want to add anything by other people? Okay, so we can go to Kathopanishad a little bit early because that verse is a little longer, so and it will encourage us more. That's it's the synergies happening, super synergies happening over there, because there's exactly what they're saying over there. That you got the absolute gold mine, so don't waste it. Okay, so I'm going to close Bhagavad Gita here. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.